Boa tarde, Portugal. Bom dia, Brazil. Welcome back, everybody, to live coverage here on the Porsche Cup Brazil YouTube channel as we are getting set and ready for stage 6 of the 2026 season. But it's the first of 3 of the 10 stages that will make up the total running of the 2026 C6 Bank Porsche Carrera Cup Brazil. Hello, everybody. Alex Goldschmidt with you to take you through what is going to be a really exciting qualifying session because we have 37 cars in total with 74 drivers, in which we will have each driver going out for a 12-minute session. And as we are here at the Autodromo International do Algarve in Portimão, which is the second largest city in the southern Algarve region, situated on the scenic estuary of the Algarve River. And unlike many purpose-built tourist resorts nearby, it's vibrant, working, but it has a rich maritime history, and it balances traditional life with modern coastal attractions. And of course, from Praia da Rocha, which is about 25 minutes from the circuit, you can get your nice sunshine. But it is a little bit cloudy overhead. Track temperature 30 degrees centigrade as we are underway with our first of 2 timed qualifying sessions. Now, we do have Carrera and Challenge out here today, but we are going to have the rookies for the Carrera side of things. So that will include the 45 piloted by, at the moment, Jose Moreneto, currently in the running for the sprint, the Carrera rookie side of things. Then we've also got the likes of Leonardo Sanchez in the number 15, Paulo Souza, Bruno Campos, Pipo Massa, who's being joined by Dad Felipe this weekend in the car. Wagner Pointes is going to be joined by Antonella Bassani. Marco Pisani, who in the number 12, the leopard print car, will be joined by Renan Guerra. Also a good friend of myself personally. Good to see him back in the saddle. He's been to Portimão earlier on this year. The number 38, Eric Santos, will once again, like he did at the 500 kilometers of Interlagos last year, will be partnered with Gabriel Rob. And the last car that is, one of the last cars out on the number 39, that is going to be piloted by Luis Souza and Bruno Bonifacio, are going to be out. I mean, Eric this year is now in his second season in running in these generation of cars with the Porsche Track Experience by Manthey crew as the Porsche Sprint Challenge Suisse. We'll be heading over to Spielberg next week, so I'll be catching up with Eric in person. We'll be keeping in touch on a regular basis. So one of the other things is that some of the cars are very, very bright, including the one that we have got here. And that is going to be the number 38. And that is with Eric Santos behind the wheel, going through turn 9 at Craig Jones, up the hill into Portimão. Very different to the all silver, red and black Porsche Manthey Experience car running under team boss Dennis Ferleman, who has a lot of experience with Porsche racing in his own right as Eric makes his way through out of turn number 13. Jose Moreneto is the first one to set in a real benchmark lap of 150.835. Now, how does qualifying work for the Endurance Challenge Brazil? Well, for those that are new to Endurance Challenge Brazil, welcome along. Thank you for joining us. And with regards to it, those wondering about live timing, there is a dedicated server, so I can't give you that link if I could try, to be honest with you. But there's Silvio Morestroni. Good to see him. All smiles, as always. Tall stature of an individual. He'll be out a little bit later on. He'll be joined with Mateus Machado in the number 2 Carrera Sport entry. So the way that qualifying works for Endurance Challenge Brazil is slightly different to what we see in the traditional either Carrera Cup or Sprint Challenge, where we effectively have the qualifying sets the grid for race 1, and then the top 7 of the results from race 1 get inverted for race number 2. Here for Endurance Challenge Brazil, it is different in the fact that both drivers will go out for a 12-minute qualifying session respectively. And the grid for the 300-kilometer race, which will start at 10 past 12 Portuguese time tomorrow, UK time. They're on the same time zone as those of us in the UK Ireland and the Northern Ireland. That's all good. It will be either 300 kilometers or 65 laps, whichever comes first. So the average of both drivers' lap times will then set the grid for tomorrow's race. So if the race, there's also a couple of other things that will happen as well. Is we see there Leonardo Sanchez is going to be partnered by Diego Nunes in the number 15 car, the very brightly coloured UBS car, goes through turn 9. So we are going to see 74 total drivers, and for those that love their Brazilian motorsport, because this is the most recognised one-make championship series in the whole of Brazil, let's not forget. Why am I saying it with the way they say it? Well, I've got to do it that way. You know, you've got to give a little bit of flavour to the broadcast here. There's Leonardo Sanchez out of Galp at turn number 15, goes over the crest. Let's see, currently sits 7th at the moment, and that is a personal best, a 150.977. Commentator at the moment, 147.471. Marco Pisani in the Chroma Blindagen, the Chroma Blindagen's car. Now, Chroma have become a partner and a sponsor of the C6 Bank Carrera Cup as of last year. It was announced actually at Interlagos. On the flashes there is Jose Moreneto going, well, it is basic. Now, I can't tell which driver is in which. So they do have an RFID scanner, a digital driver ID check at the end of pit lane. So at the moment, it's the 45 car, the pairing of Iorio and Neto leading the way. The father and son duo of Pipo and Felipe Massa, currently P2, just over 7/10 off. Pisani and Guerra round out the top 3. Then it's the number 33. That is the pairing of Bruno Campos and Nicolas Costa. And also good to have this man in this grid. And you know, if you can attract the attention of a man who does run under Luxembourg nationality, but is also Portuguese by descent and speaks the language fluently, let's welcome along 2022 Mobile 1 Super Cup and 2025 Carrera Cup Asia champion, Dylan Pereira. I'm so excited he's on the grid today. I'm so excited. And also to see, because along with Felipe Massa, we actually have 3 other drivers that have raced in Formula E, or, well, 50% of the drivers that have raced in Formula E that are here this weekend are non-active. One of which is Felipe Massa. The other one, Nelson Piquet Jr. The other 2, Lucas de Grassi, fresh off of his win at Shanghai the other week, has just made a recent trip to the Festival of Speed at Goodwood to help bring Formula E's prominence with the new Gen 4 car that has gone up the hill very quickly in the hands of Dan Ticktum, I might add, from Kiro Cupra. Of course, Lucas de Grassi, earlier on this year, has said that he will be ending his professional career as a racing driver. He is joined by the man that took the 2022 FIA Formula 2 World Championship and then became an Aston Martin reserve driver before joining Jake Dennis. We've got Felipe Drugovich on the grid this weekend. So they will be out a little bit later on. But of course, one of the things that we'll see as we are getting to the sharp end of this session. So Neto and Diorio leading the way ahead of... I like the fact that they've given Pipo his own designation, Pip. That's actually, well, that's probably short for... I mean, when you think about it, it's nice when you have father and son work combinations. We've seen that before. All I can say is Fefu, Dudu, and Rubinho Barrichello last year at the 500 kilometers of Interlagos, where Fefu and Rubinho were in the car. Dudu was the driver coach. And congratulations to Dudu taking P3 in the GT3 class just what was 4 weeks ago at Le Mans. Can you believe it that in over 2 decades, just over 2 decades, of Porsche Cup Brazil, that this series has gone to become an official support category of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the greatest sports car endurance race in the world. But the timer has hit 0. And here comes the number 38, the pairing of Santos and Rob. Comes out of Galp. Across the line. Car is currently P6 at the moment. Here's the one of Luis Souza and Bruno Bonifacio. The number 99 car, Wagner Pontes and Antonella Bassani. Hits the midway point of that 9-car stretch. And, well, of course, Antonella Bassani is the first woman to ever win a race and first ever female champion in Porsche Cup Brazil history. She was the Sprint Challenge champion back in 2023. Here comes one of the masters. I think it's probably Pipo. This is at the sharp end, of course. Dad Felipe, ex-Williams, ex-Ferrari, ex-Sauber F1 driver, raced in Formula E for a number of years, also had a tenure as CIK FIA karting president. There's the brightly coloured number 99 D4U car that both Wagner Pontes and Antonella Bassani will be running in this weekend. And of course, after this, because we've got 2 qualifying sessions per class, so that concludes Carrera Rookie qualifying 1. Then we'll have Carrera and Sport up next, so that'll be the majority of the field. That'll be 18 cars going out for time qualifying, and there's quite a few big hitters in this as well. So never fails to surprise me that whenever we see Felipe in a paddock, so we've got a Richard Mille on his wrist. There he is. Alex Santos out of the car, so Gabriel Rob will be back in next time. Of course, there's Felipe's brother in the background as well. Great to see the entire family here in Portimao. And it's not the first time that Felipe has taken part in a Porsche Cup Brazil event. And this will be back in the days when it was the GT3 Cup Brazil. Quite a few years ago. But nevertheless, as always, great work by the team led by Denner Pires, the man who's the CEO of Porsche Cup Brazil. Him and his crew have done a fantastic job, as always, to help stretch the remit of this series, and it continues to do so. Of course, the logistical effort, if you had a look on the Porsche Cup Brazil social medias, so for those wanting to follow this series on socials, there's some great content on there at Porsche Cup Brazil. So, some of the cars now having brand new Michelin Cup Sport tyres on there. And in the next session, we've got some heavy hitters. We've got the return of Alan Hellmeister, who'll be joining current defending overall champion from 2025, Miguel Paludo. Three-time Stock Car Pro Series champion, Gabriel Casagrange from Matheus Vogel will be partnering Alceu Felmaneto in the Lightning McQueen number 8. Felipe Drugovic with Marcos Regueras. Rafael Martins with Miguel Mariotti. Werner Neugebauer back for, well, recently, who's been at Atlanta in the GT4 America Series with Rafa Racing Club, is partnered with one of two Brazilian Formula E champions, the man who will, at the end of his tenure with Lowly Yamaha, Lucas de Grassi, is going to join him in the number 37. Rafael Suzuki partnering the number 70 of recent race winner in race 2 last weekend, Lucas Salles. Felipe Baptista, another name from Stock Car, joins Matheus Comparato in the 118 Shell V power entry. Marcel Muller in the 544 will be joined by Gaetano Di Mauro, the teammate of the youngest ever Stock Car Pro Series champion, who raced alongside. Now, get this. This is something interesting because of the fact that Felipe Fraga was a partner of Marcel Muller's last year in the 544 Fabian Patrus car, and now it's his teammate from Eurofama RC that joins in. Mateus Machado joins Silvio Morestroni. Tiago Vivac will be joining Carlos Campos. Cesar Ramos will be joining Leonardo Herman. Sergio Ramajo will be joining Josimar Jr. And also nice to see that the nephew of Raul Boisel, Pedro, who's actually an investor and advisor to Enzo Fittipaldi, is going to be joining Rodrigo Melo in the number 29. Marcos Gomez, that man who won the a couple of years ago the Toyota GP 100 at Velocita in Stock Car Pro Series Brazil, the son of 4-time Stock Car champion Paulo Gomez. He's going to be partnering Seba Malucelli. And along with that, Gustavo Zanon will be partnering Israel Zaman. William Freire will be partnering Francisco Horta. Ruben Zinkovic will be joined by Nelson Piquet Jr. Linneo Pires will be joined by Beto Gresse. And that is your 18 strong. So, right, just having a look here to see if there are any cars that might be missing. Well, at the moment, we might be missing one. Not sure yet, because we've got 26 showing on the times at the minute. But there is Miguel Paludo in the number 7 car. 43 career wins, 23 pole positions. And also one of the early pioneers in NASCAR Xfinity Series, taking the first ever pole position by a driver from Brazil at the World Center of Racing at Daytona. Hellmeister also not adverse to winning in Porsche Cup Brazil, taking the 2016 title. Gaetano Di Mano finished runner-up last year in the Stock Car Pro Series. Gabriel Casagrangi, for those uninformed, with Matthias Vogel, 2021, 2023 and 2024 Stock Car Pro Series champion. Right, the car that is, according to what I see, is a car that is actually down in challenge. Well, that's a good start, Alex. Well done. Get your specs on. But it's great to see these drivers out there. Some of the times are coming in. Miguel Mariotti, now a two-time Porsche Carrera Cup Brazil podium, well, trophy winner. That was last weekend. This is the first of 3 stages that will make up this year's Porsche Endurance Challenge Brazil. The final round will be at the Autodromo José Carlos Pache on November the 28th, which is normally a 500 kilometer or 177 lap race. So this is where we get to see the big hitters. There is the number 2 car in the Carrera Sport division. And the driver that should be behind the wheel of that one will be Silvio Moristoni, who we saw giving love hearts to the camera. Always happy to have a chat. Very tall stature man, especially when Cris Diaz is doing her rounds on the social media feeds and trying to have a chat with them. Now, there is also the matter of something else that we discussed, which is the boost function, which gives the drivers an additional 30 horsepower. There is a total in both qualifying and the race, a maximum of 20 boost activations permitted. It is not allowed to use the boost during starts and restarts under safety car. And also the thing is, each activation lasts 25 seconds. And on the 992.1 Cup cars, but how can you tell that the boost is being activated? Well, for the little dots that you see on the daytime running lights, well, the high beam is positioned right smack bang in the centre. So as soon as they activate that, it goes on. Has a 12-second response delay, and after every activation, it is 110 seconds. That's a minute and 50 seconds cooldown time before the next activation is permitted. So at this point, it's now car 51. Gustavo Zanon has gone in instead, but then Marcos Regueras in the number 17, the Infiniox car, partnering with Felipe Drugovic. There's the 544 Marcel Müller behind the wheel, partnering with Gaetano Di Mano. Still remember the day when myself and Carlos Costa were doing the commentary for the English stream for Stock Car Pro Series Brazil at Velocita, and then we found out the news that Felipe Fraga would be one of the new drivers at Eurofarma RC, and then within 48, well, the next day Gaetano Di Mano got announced after Ricardo Mauricio. Well, the pairing at that point, one of which was Ricardo Mauricio, 3-time Stock Car champion in his own right. But Miguel Mariotti now really winding up the wick on these cars at the minute. 147.189. Right, there you see, that's the activation signal that the boost is operational on the 544. Now, that car is going to head down Gout, headlights flashing, boost is active. So from 520 to 550 horsepower. The car comes out of the final corner. Can there be an improvement? It's 18th at the moment. And it goes P1. Oh, there we go. There we go. That just goes to show how quickly things can change. 146.778 is the fastest lap time for Marcel Müller and Gaetano Di Mano. Miguel Mariotti, Matheus Comparato has put the number 118 car There's the number 31 Blue 3 car, 7 Malicelli and Marcos Gomez, who's behind the wheel, is more to the point. Now, drivers were informed in briefing that track limits are going to be strictly enforced from corners 1, Primera, turn 2, turn 4, turn 5, which is Torre bit, turn 7, which is the right-hander approaching into Samsung, then Sagres turn 14 and Gout turn 15. So they've got to be very, very mindful. So for those wondering about how can you identify the cars, well, there is your timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. So we've got 2 minutes and 20 of this session left to go. And after that, we will then head into qualifying for, qualifying session number 2. That is the Evora car, pairing of Linneo Pires and Beto Gresse. Here comes Miguel Paludo. As the number 14, Carlos Campos, partnered with Tiago Vivacqua this weekend, keeps out of the way. Miguel Paludo now 42 years of age and still is racing like a spring chicken. The man from Rio Grande do Sul. There we go. Here it is. There's a little bit of Lightning McQueen trivia. Now that was a bit of a spin for the car in front, and that would have been the 37. Oh, welcome back to Porsche Cup Brasil, Werner Neugebauer, partnered with Lucas Di Grassi. That's not exactly where you want to spin the car either. Hopefully Werner's all okay, probably flat spotting the Michelin tyres as a direct consequence. Coming down to the final 30 seconds of this session. Here's the 888 Mapfre Evora car. Linneo Pires, currently P6 at the minute. Is he going to improve? That's the big question. No, stays 6th. Here comes Marcel Müller. Looking forward to seeing how Gaetano Di Maro gets on. Marcel Müller's going to have bought the lap and has put it on the top of the timesheets. And he's, whoa! 5.5 tenths quicker. Oh, right. Who's jumped up to second? It is actually Salas. Mateus Comparato crosses the line. 147.1, dead on the nose. Right, this is going to get very interesting very shortly, I'm sure, because Marcel Müller puts it top of the timesheets. There's the 31 car, 7 Malicelli, currently sitting, and I'm going to say it like this, a little bit further down than where he would have wanted. Also have to say a very, very big shout out to my Brazilian colleagues in the commentary box and on the grid. Luc Monteiro, Tiago Mendonça, and also Cris. Great to see that they're, you can see now, there's Marcel Müller speaking with Gaetano Di Maro and just explaining. This is a good thing I love about the fact that when we get all this melting pot of Brazilian talent behind the wheel, and Gaetano. Oh, look who! Oh, hello, Eric Santos. It's just the white flecks of the beard underneath, and you can see that Marcel is. Oh, there we go. And that is one of the things about the Porsche Motorsport family, which I am pleased and privileged to have now been a part of myself personally as a commentator for the last 18 months. There is such a great camaraderie within the Porsche Motorsport family. You know, And the cars just sound epic. They look fantastic. And it's one of those things where you just get hooked. And there we see Marcel now finally taking off his race helmet. So that is Carrera and Sport session 1 for qualifying completed. So the next session is going to help determine the overall Carrera, Carrera Sport, and Carrera Rookie side of things. And I'm sure that very soon Matheus Comparato will be having a chat with Felipe Baptista, multi-time Stock Car Pro Series race winner. And the Algarve circuit is a fantastic testament to what Portuguese motorsport has evolved from. From the days of the Cascais Grand Prix, which we had last year at the Circuito Internacional do Estoril, where Ayrton Senna first picked up his inaugural Formula One race victory in the mid-1980s, running a JPS Lotus, and was under the governance of the late, great Sir Colin Chapman. But now this is where the teammates, this is where being a teammate comes into play. And it's not just in case of the racing itself. Qualifying is just as crucial. Is just as crucial. And it doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been racing for. It's going to be the case that these drivers are now going to have to push like crazy. Right, now there's a familiar set of helmet colours. Welcome back, Felipe Massa. So, and the first car that is there is going to be the number 12. So Renan Guerra will be behind the wheel of that car. I think Marcel Miller just talking to the team and explaining what little things, little tweaks might be available, possibly to help Gaetano Di Mauro to check it. I think probably out of all the drivers that have had to fly over, I think Dylan Pereira, Lucas de Grassi, Felipe Massa might be the 3 drivers that might not have had to have experienced jet lag and not use compression socks on their flights coming over. Because it is a long, long way to fly from, you know, if you're flying from Sao Paulo all the way to Lisboa, which is, well, Lisbon, or Faro. Faro's about an hour and 20 minutes away from the circuit. Lisbon's about 3 hours away from here. But it is a little bit darker overhead in comparison to what we had last week, where the drivers were caught in the paradoxical European heat wave that has really sort of permeated its way. There's still a little bit of humidity around, so the drivers will be having some perspiration to deal with, which will include getting some good old water. Well, not water. I'd probably more than likely say more than likely a case of some electrolytes down their neck. Right. Here we go, because the first 9 out of 26 cars are ready to go out, and they're already waving the green flag. So 12 minutes will decide who is going to be the top rookie pairing. Now, coming back to track limits during the race itself, one of the big things is that, as I said, it's going to be heavily policed at multiple corners. So after the 6th transgression, so it's the 5-strike rule, and on strike number 6, you'll get a 3-second addition to the next mandatory pit stop, or if it happens in the final third of the race, it'll be added to your total race time. So wherever you end up finishing, you could find yourself, maybe you might think, yes, we've got a podium, and then you find yourself you've had 2 additional track limits, that's 6 seconds, and you're off the podium by 2 places. That can happen. Felipe Massa makes his way down the hill and through Craig Jones at turn 9. So we'll see how Felipe gets on. But it is about how this second batch of drivers in Rookie now, then Carrera and Sport. After that, we will have our drivers that will be taking part. We're set to have 10 cars in the Challenge division. And then there will be 2 back-to-back qualifying sessions, and then we'll conclude the grid. Obviously, any results that are called now by myself here on the commentary side of things. Let's be honest, sometimes qualifying does not always end up emerging as what you see right now. And you can just see as Felipe Massa took a hard stamp on the left brake pedal to come through into Lagos at turn 3. You can see the amount of pickup. And look, there's all that marbling. And that is from not just the last couple of days of free practice that the drivers have been able to do, which has included the official test session, but also last week's racing. So very soon we should get the first couple of real indicators onto average lap time pairings. So at the minute it is car number 45. But funny enough, with the lap time that Jose Moreneto did, that has put the car P5 overall at the moment as things stand. However, that could change. Okay, first lap time to come in, courtesy of Antonella Bassani in the number 99 car. And then all of a sudden, Felipe Massa goes 5 1,000ths of a second quicker. Who'd have thought I'd be saying that about Antonella Bassani battling with Felipe Massa? So there's a few other cars that have yet to... I'm waiting to see what lap time Dylan Pereira is going to do, because that could be an absolute flyer and a half. Fastest opening sector by Gabriel Robe. And also with that, Mateus Iorio was fastest in the middle sector, but that has gone the way of the number 12, Renan Guerra. Right. This is going to be car 15 across the line. Diego Nunes. Felipe Massa coming out of turn 8, now down the hill into turn 9. There's Gabriel Robe, who's just gone purple across the board. Sectors 1 and 2 for the teammates of Eric Santos. Eric Santos, no stranger to endurance racing. Last year in round. I think it was the second endurance race of Porsche Sprint Challenge Suisse. He and Ahmed Almedi, who's now joined the QMMF Porsche 992 Cup team that runs in the Creventic 24-hour series. They won at, of all places, the Temple of Speed at Monza. Gabriel Robe goes top in the number 38, but that puts the car second. That puts the car 15th on aggregate in the overall stage of qualifying. Guerra, Benan Guerra has just helped to put the number 12 car, 12th overall, but leading in rookie. So Gabriel Robe, again another purple sector, and he's on the boost. So Gabriel Robe, as the 25 gets out of the way, that's Dylan Pereira. Like I say, Dylan Pereira cannot, if you want a quick peddler behind the wheel in qualifying, I would say Dylan Pereira is a pretty damn good shout. And he's also run in 6 Carrera Cup Germany, runner-up in that series. He's also raced for the likes of Phantom Globe. Well, it was Phantom Global over quite recently in the Vincennes Grand Prix. So Dylan's been hopping from one continent to another. But how much quicker is Gabriel Robe going to be on this particular lap time? That is the big question for the number 38. But he's instantly been beaten by Renan Guerra, and that has put the number 12 car up to 7th overall. But Gabriel Robe also did make an appearance one season in the Carrera Racing team 1 year in Stock Car Pro, and he goes top and he puts the car 14th overall. Good work there by Gabriel Robe, complimenting Eric Santos really, really nicely. We're into the final 4 minutes of this second qualifying session, the penultimate qualifying session for Carrera Cup overall for the first round of the 2026 C6 Bank Porsche Endurance Challenge Brazil. The second round will be held in Mogi Guacho at Velocita. I think it's the first weekend of October, if memory serves me correctly. How's Felipe Massa getting on? Felipe currently running P5 at the moment. San Pipo was P2 in the previous session. What did I say? On cue, Dylan Pereira. Fastest overall middle sector of anybody. Then Guerra unable to improve. Felipe Massa now coming through turn 9 up the hill into Portimao. Oh no, not off of Portimao. That was off of Portimao down the hill. So he's now making his way through Sagres and then down the hill into Galp. And Felipe is on the boost. Dylan Pereira, no surprise, straight in with a 1:45.710, and that has put the 25 car 13th. But get this, Felipe Massa with a 1:46.852 has just put the number 19 car in 4th overall. Felipe, baby, you still got it. That's what I love about seeing drivers like Felipe come back and give it a go. Here's Dylan Pereira, the man in the 25 Cargill entry. This man is absolutely lightning fast. So out of Samsung at turn 8, here comes the roller coaster ride for Dylan Pereira. As we see, there's the number 33 Cup. And that is with Nicolas Costa, joined by Bruno Campos. As Guerra and Nunez have both pitted. Costa drops down to... Oh, there's been an improvement by Gabriel Robe in the number 38 car. And, well, there was Antonella Bassani on flashers, well, on the boost. Here comes Felipe Massa down the hill through Galp. Look at that, smooth as silk from the former Williams, Ferrari and Sauber F1 driver. Well, still no improvement there for Felipe. He's going to possibly get one bite of the cherry still. But the checkered flag is out for the session. Gabriel Robe has pitted. Renan Guerra, Diego Nunez, they've all pitted. Here comes the 45 down the hill. Matteo Cirorio. And that car has crossed the line, has gone P5 in the session. But, whoa! All I can say, that lap that Matteo Cirorio has just done, has just put the 45 on the outside of the provisional front row. How's Felipe Massa getting on? No improvements over the opening two sectors, so Antonella Bassani crosses the line in 6th, which puts the 99 down in 20th position. And let's see, Felipe is not at full chat, so I would think that car is going to be rolling its way down pit road very shortly, and he does exit stage right. So, at the moment, well, Dylan Pereira, oh my goodness, that man. A 1:45.543. Now, this is so I'm going to go through at the end of the second qualifying session for each class. I'm going to tell you where the session ended up and how they have qualified. So, car 25 takes the session, 12th overall. Car 38, second, 17th overall. Car 33, third in the session, 9th overall, ahead of the number 12 car, which is P4, 10th in the session. Car 45, 5th in the session, 2nd overall. Car 99, 6th in the session, 20th overall. Car 19, 7th in the session, 2nd overall. Car 39, 8th in the session, 17th overall. And then car 15, last in the session, 26th overall. So what I see is the lap times from Q1 and the lap times in Q2. So what the timing then does is divide that into what they call a median, or basically an aggregate. So whatever their best lap time is, put it together with the other one, divide it by 2, and that is how it decides the grid for this weekend for the Endurance Challenge. And that will be for the other rounds of the series. So very shortly, we'll be getting underway with the next session, and it is going to be for Group 2. So, at least the good thing is with this split format of qualifying, so we see that'll be the drone going over the cars as the green flag waves. Underway now for qualifying session 2 for Carrera and for Sport. So it's all about how these drivers get those Michelin Cup Sport tyres up to temp. They've got to do it quickly. So, let's have a look at who's in what car. Right, car 80, Nelson Piquet Jr. Paulo Bozel, car 29. Marcos Gomez, car 31. Gabriel Casagrange in the Lightning McQueen edition. Number 17, Felipe Drugovic. Felipe Bautista in 118. Beto Gresse in the 888. Tiago Vivacqua in the number 14. Alan Hellmeister, car 7. Cesar Ramos, car 23. Gaetano Di Mauro, car 544. Lucas de Grassi now will take the wheel of the number 37. Great to have Lucas back here as well in the Itura Mob, which is basically one of the latest Brazilian firms that have gone into mobility solutions. Lucas, very much a very intelligent man, As there we see the Portuguese flag, the FIA flag, and the FPAC flag. The FPAC being the ASN for Portugal, for the FIA. So I'm just trying to pick out who is which car that we haven't actually got on the. It might take me a little bit of delving, but it's not an issue at all. At least by doing that now, I don't have to worry about it later. More to the point. And Miguel Mariotti, partnered with Rafael Martins, the Syngenta number 21 entry. Right, so I have found the missing car. It was due to the car from Francisco Horta and William Frere is the car that is not going to be taking part in this race, I'm afraid. So 36 cars, which means A total of 72 drivers here this weekend. That was the pairing of Souza and Bruno Bonifacio. Bonifacio has been competing in a lot of the Endurance Brazil Championship for GTs, running the last couple of seasons in the Mercedes-AMG GT3, with some success to boot as well. So there is car number 70, Rafael Suzuki. Another man that has been a long stalwart of Stock Car Pro. There's some really, really fantastic drivers that we've got here. And Marcel Muller looking on, seeing how teammate Gaetano Di Mauro is doing at the minute. So at the moment, with the way things are going, are based on aggregate, car 45 is overall provisionally on pole position. And that is the pairing of Jose Moreneto and Matheus Idorio. Dylan Pereira has got the fastest lap of anybody in this total qualifying, so we've got 5.5 minutes to go. But car 7 on the boost, Alan Hellmeister back behind the wheel. That car is currently sitting all the way down in 24th position and is chasing down Gaetano Di Mauro. So these drivers are really going to have a bit of difficulty in trying to chase down everybody else. But this is going to be easier said than done. So car 21. Rafael Martins now has put in a 1:46.051. That has provisionally put the car on overall pole. Rafael Suzuki has just gone 5th, 1:46.260, which means that car rounds out the top row. It's going to change all the time, so I'm wondering how far up the order the pairing of Paulo Souza and Dylan Pereira will stay in the top 10. Well, at the moment they're currently P5 because it's Gaetano Di Mauro that's gone up to P3, 1:46.044, and it's 33 thousandths between second and third on actual lap time. And car 80, the pairing of Roman Simkovic and Nelson Piquet Jr. Find themselves at the bottom end of it. This is going to be a very fast and frantic side of things. Bearing in mind the combined average between Gaetano Di Mauro and Marcel Muller is 1:46.2 296. So car 118, driven by Felipe Baptista, needs to make up a big chunk of time, and that is over a quarter. That's over a quarter of a second. It's nearly 3/10. But it's also dependent on how much harder Gaetano Di Mauro decides to push the 544, because he's on the boost. Don't forget, 20 maximum activations allowed over qualifying and the race itself. And the previous lap time for Gaetano Di Mauro was 1:45.703, which would have put them well ahead of the field. But the biggest problem is, looks like that lap time was disallowed by race control due to track limits. Sergio Romalho unable to find some time in the latter stages of this qualifying session, which has just under 2 minutes to go. But it is the pairing of Di Mauro and Müller that are on provisional pole for tomorrow's race. Just wondering if Gabriel Casagrange, the three-time Stock Car Pro Series champion, running in the number 8 Lightning McQueen edition Carrera car, also partnering with the son of Alceo Feldman, Alceo Feldman Neto. They are currently 20th in terms of the times in this session, which has put them, well, the thing is that Q2, because of the evolution of the track and because the track temperatures might be getting a little bit colder, as we're at 3:45 local time here in Portimao, as we've got 50 seconds on the timer, so any kind of grip, any kind of time that they can find. As Nelson Piquet Jr. Oh, that's a great lap from the inaugural Formula E, well, the Formula E champion, the 2014-2015 season, all way back yonder, and originally born in Heidelberg in Germany, same location as where Michael Fassbender was born. That's an interesting tidbit. Nelson Piquet Jr. born in the same town in Germany as the famed German-Irish Hollywood actor. And that has brought the car up to P8 overall. And now, can Piquet Jr. improve? He's not improved over the opening 2 sectors. This is going to be the lap he's either going to go checkered flag or abort. He's aborted. Someone else is going to come across the line and take the checkered. And that is either going to be, I would imagine it's probably going to be Suzuki or Drugovic. No, well, Piquet, it was actually Piquet Jr. Right, here's car 8, Gabriel Casagrange. Young in age, but very mature at heart when it comes to racecraft and strategy. This could be a really good dynamite pairing. Probably one of the lowest average ages on the grid, I think, this weekend. And here comes Gaetano Di Mauro. That car still is on aggregate average pole position, as the pole sitter. But looks like we've got a few more drivers that are going to come down into pit road, but that is going to put the 544, the pairing of Müller and Di Mauro, on to effectively provisional overall pole position for the first round of C6 Bank Porsche Endurance Challenge Brasil here at Portimao 2026. Great average, 146.296. Now, there's something else, the weight balance of performance. Now, what they have done is that they have given an indicated BOP. So the BOP is done by weight differential. So you see in the background there, the mobile, well, just behind the team of Marcel Müller and Gaetano Di Mauro. A little bit of filming for the social media for the team behind the scenes. We saw the Mobil 1 Porsche 718 Cayman safety car in the background. That, as they say, is it all concluded for this qualifying session. For Carrera, we then go on to Challenge. And, well, we've got 2 Challenge, 1 Sport, and 7 Rookie 991.2 generation cars that will be going out. Well, it is going to be an interesting showcase tomorrow for these drivers because now they get to have a little bit of a respite ahead of tomorrow's race. Now, for those wondering, where can you watch it? You can watch it right here on the Porsche Cup Brazil YouTube channel. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell whilst you're at it. Also, one of the good things to see is that on the back of the rear wings, on the underneath the main surface plane of that big, tall rear wing, as you see the surnames of the drivers that are paired up for this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. I think, as the Germans would say, ich habe Gänsehaut pur, which basically means I've got goosebumps. But that there is the car that is going to sit on overall pole position for tomorrow's race, which will start at 12:10 local time here in Portugal. So it'll be about 8:10 in the morning for those in Brazil. So what is now going to happen is that all the challenge cars are going to go out, but there's going to be a little bit more time in between the sessions because obviously with preparing the cars for Rookie, Carrera and Sport, Rookie went in their own session, Carrera and Sport went in their own session. So let's take you through the pairings. Car 22, that is going to be the partnership of Caio Castro and Danilo Dirani. Caio Castro, a man who's an actor, TV presenter turned racer, who also hosts global Brazilian channel Global's new F1 broadcast segment alongside Antonella Bassani. How's about that one? That's the 22. Sadak later will be joined by Fabio Carboni. Nicholas Garfinkel will be joined by Victor Thierry in car 10. Paulo Reales and Yuli Alves will be in car 11. Lucas Castellani will be partnered by Rafael Abate in car 26. Enrico Pedrosa, I have to give a shout out to his dad, who's actually followed me on Instagram, which is really weird, but so glad to see that social media reaches far and wide. There's the 100, Rafael Bernardes, who had a bit of a testing weekend 7 days ago here in Portugal. He's going to be joined by Giuliano Rauchi. Dilson Perez Jr. will be joined by Marco Corsi in the number 91. And Enrico Pedrosa will be joined by Luis Landi Aldo Umbelino will have Marcelo Enriquez as his teammate, and Victor Mahler in the 311 will have Witold Ramazauskas. Now that's unusual. If you might think, hang on, that name does not come from Brazil. No, Lithuanian born and now is a Brazilian resident. So this is where things get, you know, when you think about it, Felipe Massa, Italian heritage. That's all I need to say on that front, really. But Nicholas Garfinkel getting on the top step last week was pretty good to see for the young man in the number 10 car. So it's going to be a 20-minute qualifying session for both drivers. So there is an opportunity for them to get a little bit of a breather in between sessions. You know, the mechanics, you know, the thing is that the, right, okay. Oh dear. So race director has said that car 78, that is Landi and Pedrosa, and I think it looks like it's for they're going to lose their fastest lap time, and that will be, I'll do a quick little translation here, but it's based, that is to do with leaving the pit box incorrectly. Oh, they crossed the white line on pit lane exit. Oh dear. That is not what they wanted to have at that point, I'm afraid. So, car 78 will lose its is going to lose its fastest lap time as a result of that happening. Talk about slap on the wrist and then some. It's more like being told you're going on the naughty step. We're going to have a look here. I think this is where the... yes, I could understand that completely on, I think that was one of the other cars. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Might have been... well, it definitely had two numbers on it. So the... it's not an easy one for the drivers out there, believe you me. I think that might have been possibly car, yeah, it looks like it might have been car 91. So could we now... oh, that, yes. That I can completely understand. It was Dilson Perez Jr. that I think had the big old wobble and managed to keep the car within track limits. But yeah, I'm sorry for Luis Landi on that one. Yeah, that was completely misjudged by him, and that is why Race Direction have put that into place. There's car 11. And that is the pairing of Paulo Reales and Yuri Alves. Total combined weight, balance of performance adjustment, 7.5 kilos. Okay, there is the car. Oh, that's car 66 in the pits. Sadak later and Fabio Carbone. That car has got in total 30 kilos of ballast. There's car 311. That's the pairing of Ramazauskas with Marla behind the wheel at the moment. Who's coming down the hill. The front end looks like it's had a little bit of a touch against something. But it is the pairing of Caio Castro and Danilo Dirani that have the fastest time at the moment, so 1:50.064. Rafael Bernardes currently P3 at the minute overall in the rookie division. So the only two cars that are in the top tier of the challenge are the cars currently 1st and 9th. Bernardes has improved across both openings, both first and middle sectors. So can he improve and put that car higher than Victor Mahler at the moment in the 311? He currently rounds out the top 3 overall, but leads in Carrera rookie. So that car making its way down the hill into Galp. And he does. That car is going to be on a flyer. That is currently 4th, goes 2nd. There's car 78 of Luis Landi. Lucas Castellani rounds out the top 6. Oh dear, Sadak later has just suffered the same fate as car 78. So for crossing the pit lane exit. Nicholas Garfinkel seems to be very, very happy at the moment. He's brought the car up into his one position away from the top 25. So that is something that they do not want to have happen. And that is something that's going to be heavily, heavily penalised if those drivers on exit of the pit lane do that during the pit stop phases. So that's 2 drivers. Luis Landi has... Nicholas Garfinkel already looking to get his elbows out. There's Ronaldo Umberlino in the 222 car. But we've still got just over 8 minutes to go in this qualifying session here to decide how things are going to look out. But the only car that has been overtaken by one of the challenge cars, that is car 15. And that is the pairing of Leonardo Sanchez and Diego Nunes, who only had the, 20 kilo ballast BOP. That's a car BOP. So where you see the little weight, the red weight stickers on the bottom corner, just above the door handle, there it is. You can see on Sadak Later's number 66 car. Now this could also be dependent on driver rating. So looks like the maximum is 60 kilos, then 50, then 35, I would imagine. Victor Muller has improved again. That car has gone up to P2 overall, but the lead that Nicholas Garfinkel, the sole challenge sport car in this race weekend, has done a number over the 311. It's gone nearly 9/10 of a second quicker. As Castro in the number 22 that saw itself in the trenches last week in the sprint challenge. Left side of the suspension bumping up and down like a yo-yo on a string. Can Castro, we improved on the opening sector, no improvement sector 2. But Sadak Later looks to be on a little bit of a flyer in the 66. And that car's now gone third overall in the challenge division side of things. Right, here is the replay with Castro, and just up ahead, that is that is Nicholas Garfinkel. That's uncharacteristic of the young man. So that was on the road, the way up to Lagos at turn 3. Five minutes to go in the session. First out of 2 sessions for the 991.2 generation cars, 485 horsepower, 0 to 62 miles an hour or 100 kph. It's 1/10 slower than the 992.1 generation car. That's Eldo Umbolino in the 222. Sadak Later thunders across the older school engine. I mean, it's slightly, slightly more brutal, and the note is quite different on how the exhausts have changed on the 911. Of course, the car being the talisman vehicle of the Porsche motorsport family, not just in one makes, but also now from next year will be GT4, along with the GT3 program that Porsche Motorsport has globally. And of course, just a few weeks ago, from the pit lane to overall race victory, Lion Speed GP won the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa-Francorchamps. But still, Nicholas Garfunkel leads. Garfinkel, my apologies, getting myself confused with Simon Garfunkel from back in the day. Oh, I'm showing my age again. Right, 2.5 minutes to go. Leading the way overall, and the car currently now sitting in 26th position. Oh, and that car is going very, very slowly. I think Nicholas Garfinkel might have just gone a little bit too over the limit, or was he really trying to cool those tyres down? Because he was off at turn 3, and, well, his lap time says volumes. I don't know if we're going to maybe possibly have a replay on this, but his last lap, okay, his first sector, fastest of anybody. And then sector 3, I don't know whether he's had to sort of back out and abort the lap and go, right, I've got an opportunity maybe to get a pretty good lap time in. But sometimes that can be the case where you decide to hold back and give yourself enough time just to gather yourself up and think, right, here is a chance for me to maybe put in a stonker of a lap time. Well, he has done enough in many respects. He might be better just to give that car a little bit of, a little bit of tender loving care. Just bring the car in. Let Victor Thierry have an opportunity, get the mechanics working on the vehicle. Right. That is car 26. The Kart Panda entry of Lucas Castellani and Rafael Abate. Right, timer is about to hit 0. The checkered flag will be out this time, and that will conclude the session for the first set of drivers. For those wondering, where are Cecilia Rebello and Daniel Neumann? Well, the last time I saw them in an endurance race, it came to blows at Interlagos late last year. So, checkered flag is now officially out. Garfinkel brings the Porto back car into pit lane. Victor Mahler takes the rookie top time in this session, but there is still one more session to go. Rafael Bernardes parks it into the pits. And of course, for those of the uninitiated, Bruno Campos on the right-hand side of your screen, has the same livery. Reason being, family connection. I'll let you all figure it out. Answers on a postcard in the chat, please. But a great run there by the number 10 car, building on his success from... Oh, and someone has gone a bit deep coming out of Galp. That is not going to help. Looks like we're going to... Right, this is Rafael Bernardes. That is more than over-exceeding track limits. Comes back onto the circuit, but someone else has had a drama as well in the meantime. But Garfinkel takes the top time in the session in Q1 here for challenge. Head of Caio Castro, Victor Mahler. Zadak later rounds out the top 4 with Rafael Bernardes 5th, Lucas Castellani and Luis Landi rounding out the top 7. Dilson Perez Jr., Aldo Umbellino, and the number 11, that being of Paulo Reales, rounding out those drivers. It's going to be a quick turnaround here because these cars will be going out just under 10 minutes. And wheel guns are going like the clappers, taking off and then putting on new sets of Michelin tyres. Still a lot of cloud cover up above the sky, up above the circuit here at Portimao. Oh, right. Victor Marley. Okay. Top right. Fastest lap time in the session has been deleted due to speeding in the pits. And even I can understand the word velocidade in Portuguese. There you go. Well, speeding in the pit lane. So Victor Marley gets demoted behind Sadak later. So that changes the complexity of, oh, this could make things very interesting on who could get challenge rookie pole for tomorrow's race. Because effectively, that puts Victor Marley 42 thousandths ahead of Rafael Bernardes. As we have a look at some of the wonderful replay shots by the broadcast team over in the Algarve at the moment. But as I said last week, it is Porsche Cup Brasil's home away from home. Here at this nearly 4.7 kilometre circuit. Oh, it's getting worse and worse. Right, we've had another decision from race control. Car 100, Rafael Bernardes has lost his fastest lap for incorrect pit lane entry. Oh dear. Well, what that does mean is that it opens up the gap between car 311 and car 100 in terms of the overall fastest lap for the session or the class itself. And for those wondering, what are they doing on the left rear with that big old torque wrench? Well, these center locking nuts have a specific mechanism developed and designed by Porsche in Weissach and in Stuttgart. And you have to have a specific lever bar to make it work. And believe you me, I've even seen it where some people have had to stamp, quite literally, or jump on that bar as the door is being found opened and shut for car 78. We'll have Enrico Pedrosa. As far as I'm aware, no relation to legend MotoGP rider Danny Pedrosa, possibly, but maybe so indirect. has been a busy afternoon underneath the overcast skies here at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve in Portimao for what is effectively stage 6 of the championship season, which will conclude in the last weekend of November at the Autodromo José Carlos Pache in Interlagos in the suburbs of Sao Paulo in Brazil. But it has been rather interesting. We are going to have 36 drivers, 36 teams of 2 drivers. That's going to be great to see when we have Carrera and Challenge roaring into turn 1 tomorrow afternoon for 65 laps or 300 kilometers. Effectively, it's a 2.5-hour timed race. Got some great performances, including also nice to see, in comparison with last year, Eric Santos. I've seen that man develop over the last 18 months, and he has gotten better and better and better. And he's at the sharp end of what they call Open GT, which is Class 21, which run with these cars in Porsche Sprint Challenge Suisse. Of course, a lot of other Porsche racing going on this weekend. Well, last weekend, Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Deutschland was running at the Norris Ring, supporting the DTM, which were also in action. I have to say, a very, very good afternoon to our friends at the Red Bull Ring at Porsche Sports Cup Deutschland. They're running there this weekend. But also one, including us here at Porsche Cup Brasil, one of 35 championships that make up the family that is helping to celebrate 75 years of Porsche Motorsport. And if you are tagging Porsche Cup Brasil on Instagram, please use the hashtag Race the World. That has been the mantra of this 22nd season of the C6 Bank Porsche Carrera Cup Brasil, Sprint Challenge Brasil, and of course, Endurance Challenge Brasil. So, green flag for the final session in time qualifying for the opening round out of 3 for the C6 Bank Porsche Endurance Challenge Brasil for 2026 gets underway. First driver out there is going to be Enrico Pedrosa in the number 78. And is joined by car 100, Giuliano Rauchi for Rauchi, the teammate of Rafael Bernardes. So green flags are circuit wide as we speak. Carboni out in the 66. Car 91 is out. Marco Corsi behind the wheel of that car. Car 10 now in the hands of Victor Thierry. So Marcelo Enriquez in the 222 car goes out. Along with car 26, Rafael Abate in the Kart Panda entry. Partner with Lucas Castellani. Danilo Dirani now going behind the wheel of the car, piloted by Caio Castro and Witold Ramazauskas, originally from the Baltics, from Lithuania, now here in Brazil. Takes the wheel of the 311 car. Danilo Dirani also has a little bit of previous rivalry with Nelson Piquet Jr. Back over 2 decades ago. Finished runner-up to Nelson Piquet Jr. in for the 2002 South American Formula 3 title before taking the crown himself. He's also raced British F3 and Champ Car Atlantic back in his earlier, well, it is single-seater foray. So hopefully very shortly, we'll get the first set of lap times coming in. So the drivers have had a little bit of an opportunity to get up to speed. Get some tyre temps into the vehicle to then give them the optimum amount of grip. So Victor Thierry in the number 10 car will cross the line. At the moment it is Fabio Carboni, the partner of Sadak Later, that is leading the way in this qualifying session. So that is car 100. Coming across the line, Giuliano Rauchi across the line. And that car is currently sitting in 3rd place at the moment. Yuri Alves in the number 11 car is now going to come across the line very shortly. That puts the car P3 in terms, well, but Enrico Pedrosa absolutely fine. They're going to put a new set, right. Front tyres going on the number 66 car. So whether Carboni has had a flat spot hit somewhere, or maybe they've decided, you know what, we're going to put you on some brand new tyres. Just over 12 minutes and 40 left to go. It is car 22. On, and he delivers. Danilo Dirani goes top, but here comes Enrico Pedrosa and is going to blow that time out of the water. Oh, but no! Yuri Alves has beat the number 11. Where is this? Oh dear, loses the back end. The car rotates. He's a passenger. Can't do anything. Smoke billowing. That is going into turn 8 at Samsung. And that bumps over the gravel. And one of the first things it does, it sinks in. Red flag is going to be, I'm sure, going to be brought out for this one. Let's see. Yeah, looks like we've got the red flag about to come out here. Yep, there we go. Red flag on the digi flags and waved, so circuit wide. And unfortunately for the number 11 car, that means that no longer can take part in the session. So red flag with 11 minutes and 56 seconds to go. It was up until that point, I'll be completely honest here, and I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus on this one. It can happen to anybody in this series. It doesn't matter how much experience you've had, how many race starts you've made, what your CV looks like when it comes to the world of being behind the wheel. If you have a drama like that, that is not what the doctor ordered for Yuri Alves in the number 11 car. So the rest of the field makes its way down pit lane. They've got to be very, very careful. We've already seen one lose a lap time because of speeding in the pit lane. So this now means that the drivers will end up into pit lanes. So the recovery vehicles will be out for Yuri Alves, I'm afraid. It's not exactly how you want to end a qualifying session, to be completely truthful, but that's part and parcel of racing, I'm afraid, folks. And with the temperatures being a little bit colder than they were yesterday, it sometimes can't always help. A little bit of a discussion going on between Rauchi and Bernardes. Bernardes look, smartphone in hand. But here's another look, slow-mo replay here. Yuri Alves just turns it in. The car decides to swap ends very, very quickly indeed. That is through the right-hander into Samsung. So it looks like we are getting set and ready. People getting out of the way of the front ends of the cars, which means that, yep, looks like we have, yep, green flags. So track has been made clear and we are off once again. So just over 11 and a half minutes remaining as the drivers will filter their way out of pit road. as Giuliano Rauci puts down the hammer. Be very careful of watching that pit lane speed limit. And of course, as we saw a couple of moments back, that drivers making mistakes. But if they're quite new to the track, that's completely understandable. But you would expect for a lot of drivers that do not have the knowledge of the circuit, unlike other people do, then there's always going to be that being in a bit of a rock and between a rock and a hard place kind of situation. But track is green. We're back underway with qualifying as we hit just around about 10 minutes and 40-ish seconds left to go on the timer. Now, the big question with regards to Yuri Alves is how hard was he pushing? Well, when we saw those two replays a little bit earlier on, I think a little bit too hard, possibly for the conditions of the track. Tyres maybe being a little bit complacent. Well, at a time when we know tyres are falling off a cliff, is that when the driver starts to panic. But Enrico Pedrosa, no surprise, has gone quickest of anybody in this session. 1:48.528. And put it this way, Luis Landi in the previous session with a 1:51.006. And Pedrosa has just blown that out of the water completely. 1:48.528. But there is still plenty of this session left to go. Anything can happen, as Victor Thierry needs to make an improvement here. And goes purple in Sector 2 in the number 10 Porto back car. Improved with a personal best on Sector 1. Sector 2, fastest out of anybody. Thierry coming down the hill through out of Galp. Got to watch those track limits. This looks to be a pretty quick lap from Victor Thierry. He's going to come across the line, goes top. 1:48.203, and that now puts the car, which was in comparison with the earlier session with Nicholas Garfinkel, 1:49.148. Victor Thierry, a 1:48.203. Over, that was 0.945 of a second quicker. That's nearly 9.5 tenths that Thierry was quicker than teammate Garfinkel. And Thierry has gone and set a personal best in Sector 1 again. Fabio Carboni, the driver partnering with Sanak later in the number 66 car. It's down in 7th position. So at the moment, an update on the times and the overall median, which decides their grid positions for tomorrow's 65 lap or 2.5 hour race. Thierry and Garfinkel leading the way in terms of their class, and which they are on provisional pole position at the moment. and are the fastest of the challenge cars at the moment. Car 22, Dirani and Castro, P2 in that class at the minute. But then that is going to change again because Fabio Carboni has responded. And still the pounding of kilometers underneath Michelin tyres with a flat six boxer engine pushing you forward. There is absolutely nothing quite like it. Carboni is again just trying to do what he can to extract the maximum out of this 991.2 generation Porsche 911. Right, so further developments in the number 10 car. Victor Thierry currently P2 at the moment behind Fabio Carboni. Thierry has gone purple in sector number, well, a little while ago, but Thierry is closing that gap to Carboni, and the gap is like it's less than 0.14 of a second. Thierry with the fastest overall final sector of the field in the challenge side of things. Right, so Rauchi comes across the line in the 100 car, does not improve. That was a 155.513. So I would think that maybe drivers are taking a lap or two to get their Michelin tyres up to temp. That could be quite crucial in this latter stage of qualifying. It's all about, along with that. I still a lap just a second ago from Victor Thierry, which is a 147.9 flat. That has now kept the number 10 car in this particular series as more further discussions. It's going to be car 91, I think, of Marco Cuzzi and Dilson Perez Jr. Can't exactly miss that colouring. No, that looks to be the... I think that is more than likely going to be the Gulf liveried Porsche that we have seen doing the rounds here at the Championship. There is a very slow running Dirani in the number 22 car. And now, well, look at this. Danilo Dirani is running very, very slowly indeed. I think a lot of drivers are deciding to pit now. What that can mean is mechanical sympathy for tomorrow's 2.5 hour or 300-kilometer race, which is 65 laps. Some drivers still out there. So car 22 looks to be pulling into pit lane. But Carboni in. So the checker flag is out. So there's the pairing of the number 66 Fabio Carboni and Sadak Later, finishing ahead of Victor Thierry and Nicholas Garfinkel, who done a very, very good job in the number 10 car. Danilo Dirani and then when it comes to the rookie division side of things, it's going to go the way of the pairing of Giuliano Rauchi and Rafael Bernardes. Will take P4. This is a nice little appetizer wetter ready for tomorrow's 300-kilometer or 2.5 hour race. As the dust settles here at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve for Porsche Endurance Challenge Brazil, powered by C6 Bank. That is the car that is going to start provisionally from 25th on the grid. A great effort by Nicholas Garfinkel and his partner Victor Thierry. That is going to put them 25th on the grid overall for tomorrow's race. And celebration between the camp. There we go. Victor Thierry, a very, very happy man. There's Nicholas Garfinkel there to congratulate him on a job well done. A 1:47.809 puts the car 25th overall. And also, well, he wasn't the only one that managed to get the jump on a couple of other teams. Car 39, which is Luis Souza and Bruno Bonifacio. And then also car 15. So Diego Nunes and Leonardo Sanchez. But the checkered flag is out for the final time here for qualifying. What a day, what an afternoon it has been so far here at the Autodromo do Algarve in Portimao, here in Portugal. What can you say? On pole in overall, it's the 544 of Marcel Muller and Gaetano Di Maro. Then after that, in sport, Linneo Perez and Beto Grese rounding out 5th, the inside of row 6. The pole sitter in the next category, which we'll also see the 45. Jose Moreneto and Mateus Iorio will line up 7th on the grid. After that, well, the 888, as I said, it's going to be Linneo Perez. There's the backwards moment for car 11. Real shame for Yuri Alves, beaching it coming out through Samsung at turn 8. But there is a lot to be decided as everyone else is making their way into pit lane. There's always some wonderful slow-mo replays, especially coming down the hill in towards Torre Vip here at turn number 5. Well, let's put it this way. Car 544, the pairing of Marcel Muller and Gaetano Di Maro will lead 35 other Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars into Primera here at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve in Portimao tomorrow at around about 12:10 local time here in Portugal, which is on the same time zone as the United Kingdom. Who will strike first in the 2026 C6 Bank Porsche Endurance Challenge Brazil? Join us tomorrow to find out. Until next time, my name's Alex Goldschmidt, saying adeus and muito obrigado for now. We'll see you tomorrow for the first race of the season for Endurance Challenge Brazil.